professional, most people have this question that how is AI going to change my life?
The data being democratized and with the advent of AI, a lot of insights will come to you.
So is it safe to assume that your view for the future when it comes to AI is more like a co-pilot version where it's human plus AI?
We have to understand the hype. And every technology goes through a hype cycle. As you know, there is a peak of inflated expectations, then it comes down, it goes through the real what you call grinding, and then it starts accelerating. So that's a typical curve that every technology follows.
First, I want to ask this to you because as a working professional, most people have this question that how is AI going to change my life? How is my work going to change? So if you can just share a little about that through your experience and conversations, how do you think work in itself is going to change with the rise of AI?
Good question. See, first is that what AI can do is, if I can use that analogy, that you don't need to go to work, work will come to you.
Okay.
That's a fundamental shift that is happening. What was the earlier concept of going to work? You get ready in the morning, you travel a distance, you go to your workplace and you have been assigned something and you do that, or you go to the shop floor and do that. In a physical intensive industry, not all of it will change, but with the data being democratized and with the advent of AI, a lot of insights will come to you.
Okay.
Because machine will do a lot of thinking in the sense that it is programmed to think. Let us take predictive maintenance. Earlier, in a traditional method, you would go to the shop floor, visually inspect, you will walk around and say that, okay, what is the condition of this machine? Is this pulley going to break or is this machine going to fail? Right? Whether you go to airline industry, all of that.
Correct.
That is a conventional condition and time-based maintenance, right? From there you get into condition, from time-based maintenance to condition-based maintenance. Now you are moving into predictive and prescriptive. What data is saying that it is measuring through optical measures, through other vibration sensors and all that, that this particular pipe or this thing has a corrosion building up inside.
Correct.
And if there is a corrosion that builds beyond a threshold value, it might break.
Correct.
It is science.
Correct.
It is logic. It is first principle. And the model is fed that information. It is trained to understand that. So it is reading the optical sensors, reading the vibration sensors, reading the acoustic sensors, and it is able to determine with high degree of accuracy that this is the threshold point. It can break now.
Correct.
So it will send an alert. So you have removed all that work of manual inspection. You are waiting for the alert to come to you. Then you decide that, okay, I will go and fix this device because I exactly know where to go and what to do. So it reduces the work. The work has come to you. You didn't go to work.
Correct.
Second is that if you take example of say safety, and we are using technology in safety, and we have a long way to go because it's a very difficult subject. But what we are seeing with cameras, inputs and AI, and during COVID, we used to figure out is the distance between two people 6 feet or not through the imaging. It will alert that you are coming close. So, and in a crowded environment, in a canteen, we used to maintain that the physical separation that was required through imaging. There was no volunteers who were going there. We were used to, from anywhere, from your phone or from your iPad or your laptop, you used to say that, okay, in this canteen, there is a breach. So we would do an announcement through a public announcement system there that, okay, do that. Or we will do, there is a crowding that is happening here. We will be able to intervene. Or somebody is falling sick because it's a hazardous this thing. So if the SOS button, if you can press, I will be exactly know where the person is. Okay, because we have geofenced the entire company and we have sensors in the ID card itself. There is a sensor. So we call it Suraksha card. Okay, so we track everybody's whereabouts. Every 2 minutes the data is uploaded into the cloud and analytics and AI is running on it. Wow. I'm making it very simple. There's a zillions of data that is getting processed. With that, there are so many use cases. Whether you have an inappropriate entry at the gate, whether there is an impersonification that has happened, because you have the triangulation biometric Suraksha card as well as the RFID card. If you are not moving, I'll be able to tell that a person must have been in some of the situation and we need the person needs help, or the person's exact location I know, or I know that okay, there is a hazardous zone demarcation, many hazardous zones demarcation. If I don't have the right permit and the right training and the right PPE, which I can see through the camera,
Correct.
and I don't have to see. The AI is seeing and saying that he's not wearing a helmet, he's not wearing a glove, even if it is a soiled glove, he's not wearing the right PPE, but he's in the hazardous zone. So there is a red alert. So we have to intervene. So that is possible today. That's the whole connected workforce platform at a very, very high level. I'm saying there are a lot of safety use cases coming out. There is a predictive maintenance platform, we call it the integrated maintenance or the connected maintenance platform, where which we are doing the maintenance. From a value chain perspective, if I can say that, from raw material buying, we do the price prediction. Okay, at what point we'll buy the coal, which grade, from where. There's a price prediction model that is running for the last 5 years, right? So that gives us a directional sense it is the right time to buy and from the right place.
Correct.
From that point onwards, this inbound supply chain is all digitally monitored, right? And at different places we have optimization, right? And how that comes into my furnace now, that the chemical mix that is going into the furnace is also modeled, that this is the right optimal mix which will give you the optimal output.
Okay.
Right. So and with the cost effectiveness also, because you can increase the cost and get a fantastic mix. That is not the point.
Yeah.
So you have to have that balance. So that is also modeled. Then what is going inside the furnace, nobody knows. You cannot go. There's a lot of chemical sensors, lot of innovation that we do inside the furnace to understand what is happening inside the furnace before that deteriorates. So we are able to predict today, we call it a process brain, and there are many algorithms where we are able to say that there is something is going wrong and there is an intervention that is required. And none of it is autonomous. It is helping the operator to take the right decision, because there is an additional data point that is coming. It's a co-pilot, right? And once it is out of the furnace, when the sheet is being rolled out, there are nano defects or micro defects that come out due to impurities or whatever, chemical imbalance upstream. So we are able to use imaging technology to find out what the defects are, so that the defective material doesn't reach the customer.
Correct.
We are able to take corrective action. From there, the outbound supply chain is again digitally enabled, and then it hits the marketing and sales, where we are talking about the customer platforms, where we are taking the customer requirements, how to process it, close the customer complaints, all of that. So the entire value chain is digitally enabled.
Interesting.
Right. And so we should not differentiate between, I keep on saying this hype of AI. It is not AI which is solving the problem. It is a business issue. There is a solution where technology and businesses together come.
It's an
and
enabler.
Design. It's an enabler. And we have to together design the solution. Right. Some of it is somewhere there is a process change that is required. Okay. It's just not throwing technology mindlessly.
Yeah.
There's a process change that is required. Sometimes it is the training of the people, and somewhere it is a technology. So it is people, process, technology, that is the age old, and that still stays true, right? And we cannot do an arbitration that it is due to digital, it is due to technology, it is due to people, it is due to process, all of it coming together to create a effective solution which has a business value. So that is how the whole transformation happens. So if we have to say that where the question was where AI is going, so the point is that sometimes we have to be mindful, and I keep on saying this, on this AI hype, right? And hype is required. The pros of hype is that it creates motivation, it creates awareness. It's extremely important to create awareness. People will be aware that the technology has come. It also creates investment at the right place. The cons are, it creates unrealistic expectation, and then it becomes very difficult. As a CIO's job is a fear of missing out sometimes happens, that okay, no, I'm missing out on AI, I have to do. But the point is that it is just not doing AI for the sake of doing AI. Am I solving a business problem? If we keep that focus, then technology gets contextualized to the business context. If that happens, everything else is fine. That is the critical thing. Where will AI go? Yeah, we have seen first principles. It stays. Physics, chemistry, metallurgy, biology, all of it is first principle.
Right.
It is there for last 40, 50 years and is still the most important bedrock. Okay, and the most difficult problems to solve. You need real technology specialists and domain experts to do that kind of modeling.
Right.
All of our business guys are real domain experts. They actually operate on the first principle model. Right. Then comes data science, which is finding correlation in the data, finding patterns in the data. Then comes generative AI, which is fundamentally it is a journey, a transitioning journey towards AGI, that is artificial general
Correct.
intelligence. My view, possibly 10, 15 years, 20 years it will come, where
Okay.
you mimic the human brain. I don't know when it will come.
Correct.
But they are trying to mimic the human brain, so there is a creativity index to it. Now let us pause here. In the creativity, that algorithm, that large language models, it has billions of parameters involved, right? So that is why it's called large language model. Now the point is here, if you make it too creative, it will start hallucinating.
Yes.
And that is the problem. So in a manufacturing setup where I need accuracy, as somebody told me, I was in Silicon Valley, I was talking to a person who made the flying car.
Okay.
He was saying AI is probabilistic. Up in the sky, nothing can work as probabilistic. It has to be deterministic. So I cannot use AI.
Yeah.
So very clear, first principle, I only work on physics. First principle models, right? Deterministic. So this one, I cannot allow it to hallucinate. So I will do the temperature control, if you know what's the...
Yeah.
So we moderate the temperature control, then it is not hallucinating, it is fine. So it deals with unstructured data pretty well. What I found in my experience, what my teams keep on telling me, a combination of first principle, data science and GenAI is extremely powerful. It's a combination. So you do all the first principle data science, and then after that the consumption layer, you put some generative AI, like customer complaint management. You take the unstructured feedback, you can do it automatically.
Yeah.
And do an auto classification. You have to do labeling on the materials that you are producing. You can do it through generative AI. Lot of use cases, HR interview, we can do. I can keep on going.
Of course, yeah.
So that's the way. And then SLMs will come, which will solve specific problems. It will be much faster.
Yeah.
But the hindsight of it is that it uses lot of compute.
Yeah. So you mentioned about different kinds of use cases that you're seeing about AI, right? So is it safe to assume that your view for the future when it comes to AI is more like a co-pilot version where it's human plus AI?
Yeah. So first of all, my view that it is not use case of AI, it is a business use case.
Okay.
Now, if that business problem or a business use case can be solved for by using a simple rule-based engine, so be it. I don't need to use AI for the sake of using AI. So that's the fundamental aspect, because then you are not being cost effective, or you're like we did, we were sitting on that chair and my shirt was matching the curtain, so we switched places. So that's an alternative solution, right? So fundamentally we have to look at what is horses for courses. So that is one aspect. Second is that see, AI as it progresses forward, my view is that we have to understand the hype, and every technology goes through a hype cycle. As you know, there is a peak of inflated expectations, then it comes down, it goes through the real what you call grinding, and then it starts accelerating. So that's a typical curve that every technology follows. AI has been a little bit super hyped. It is still kind of started to show the early signs of plateauing, where realism is setting in. So there are 4 aspects how people look at AI. One is a realist view, and I would consider myself as a realist view because I'm a practitioner. I have to implement it on the ground. There is an optimist view. I'm not saying I'm pessimistic, but there is a pessimist view also. There is naysayer, it will never work, and there is a dreamer. So there is imagination and all that. All 4 has its place, because then only you will create a balanced effect. But the point here is that we should not start with the technology solution. Whether it is AI, whether it is blockchain, whether it is edge, that is secondary. First is that whether it is a business use case or a societal use case, whatever the case may be, what is the problem I'm trying to solve? Is there a technology solution to it, or there is an alternative non-technical solution to it?
Correct.
We have to first ask that question. Then we go into, okay, there is a technology solution. Within technology, is AI going to be a better fit, or a rule-based engine is going to be a better fit? We have to also ask that question. If it happens to be AI, there is, as I said, there are first principle methods, there are data science, and there is generative AI. Within that, large language models, small language models, and a combination somewhere you find. But the AI also gives a lot of opportunities to think differently. That is also important. Sometimes when you look at the technology, you know today that I can create an insight out of this data, and that will solve an unknown problem, or that is an unknown gain point. But today business is not able to see it, or we are not able to see it. But AI is creating an opportunity for you. So you have to start thinking from that perspective, that yes, there is a technology, it can tell me something that typically I would not know. So then you start thinking differently. till that point it is okay. But then you have to think about a business problem you are trying to solve or a business model change that you want to do, then technology will enable it. Otherwise it doesn't work that way. So we have to really see through this hype, because the other thing is that, as I said earlier, the data is a very critical component of AI. So we cannot, there is a concept called, is my data ready for AI?
Okay.
We have to give it a real focus, and there's
Can
a lot
you elaborate
of
a little on that?
Yeah, so within the group also we are having a lot of exchange programs. Even this evening also I'm going into a exchange program with another many other group companies, where we'll talk about data readiness for AI. So if we have to open up a greenfield project, what should I do today so that I'm future ready? It is not about whether I have a business problem today or not. Am I creating the right infrastructure, the right data, so that I can leverage technology of the future and stay current?
Makes sense.
Okay, so that is very important. So every greenfield project today has to be relooked through the lens of future readiness. Every brownfield project should be reviewed through the lens of, am I future ready or am I just good for today, right? And other aspect is that for AI, is my data ready today? Is my data structured or unstructured? Suppose, for example, and this is little technical subject, and this is what we are currently working in Tata Steel and also other companies, I might say. The issue is, if there are say multiple sites within Tata Steel, there is Jamshedpur, there is Meramandali, there is Kalinganagar, there is Nilachal, right, and there is Gamaria, there is Netherlands, there is UK. All of them are in the same business, and there are subsidiary other companies. Now if I take a business KPI, and there is a definition in Jamshedpur, but the definition is different in Kalinganagar, definition is different in Meramandali, then it is suboptimal.
Yeah.
Right. Your supply chain is for entire company. Now there is no supply chain for Jamshedpur, supply chain for Meramandali, or supply chain for Kalinganagar. I'm just making it up, just taking example.
Correct.
So you have to work on the data definition layer. How do businesses define a particular KPI? Is it localized definition or there is a global definition?
Standardization.
Standardization. That is important. Once you have a standardized definition, then you can code it in the system. Otherwise it will never go in the system. It will remain in an Excel sheet. And I jokingly say kill Excel, because Excel is taking the data out of the system, massaging it, and then taking decisions on top of it. Then you lose all the value of AI or technology. Data has to be generated by the system as a single version of truth. That is the universal data layer. For that definition, standardization is extremely important, and that's a very tough job. There's a lot of people, process, and then technology to do that. So once you have that, then all your data is coming from the system. It is a single version of truth. Then what you need to do is apply the human judgment on top of it and take the right decisions. Or when AI is working on the single version of truth, it is consistently giving you an insight. And then you can consume that insight for business purposes.
Right.
I'm never saying human judgment will be not required. That is why I keep on saying co-pilot.
Right.
There is a machine intelligence, whether you call it artificial intelligence or you call it different intelligence, but there is an intelligence that is coming, but it is still not equal to human intelligence, far away from that. So the human judgment on top of machine intelligence is the real pilot and co-pilot.
Interesting.
And the other thing that AI does is reduces variability. That is the fundamental value of AI. It will never replace the expert.
Correct.
And neither it will be the worst performer. What it will do, there is a lot of variation in work skills, right? When you look at people in an organization, somebody is performing here, somebody is performing here, somebody is performing here. With AI and with data, what happens is that you make the performance uniform across multiple people and departments and organizations, and also moves that whole
the baseline
shifts up a notch up. Right. So overall performance improves and variability reduces. So you don't worry about should I allocate the task here or shall I allocate the task here. You will get consistent similar results at a better level. That is the power of AI. It is not replacing the expert. An expert will always be the outlier. Right. So it is not about replacing the outlier. Right. So that is what it is.
I want to ask you about the single source of truth and like the data layer piece. But prior to that, you mentioned this very interesting thing that should I directly apply AI or think that is there an alternate solution to it which is slightly more easier, like a rule based engine, right? one thing, and of course we spoke about it a while ago, I think people are just stuffing, hey, solve this via AI, solve this via AI, solve this via AI. But I think there are larger implications about it with respect to, and which very few people are speaking about, say, like the energy it consumes, the sustainable angle of it. And I know through your LinkedIn post, you've spoken about it and sort of helping the industry also think in that direction. So would love to know your views about how do we have a sustainable tomorrow how do we have a sustainable tomorrow with the rise of AI?
Yeah. No, you are very right in asking that question. Much of it is old wine in new bottle, and some of it is new wine in old bottle. Okay. So the point is that AI has been there for many decades, but the hype is now everything is getting christened as AI, right? And that is not the right thing, right? We have to be pragmatic. So the point is that if AI will consume data, and if we focus on mindless use of AI, if I may use the word, right, and we are not mindful in using AI, it requires compute. It requires a lot of processing engine.
Correct.
Right? It will require CPUs and GPUs. So, more load on the data center. Hence, more GHG emissions.
Correct.
So, the jury is out. I am not an expert on that subject, but what I have read about in literature is that projected by 2025, 2026, it might account for 5.5% of overall emissions. And that is huge. Steel is 8%. So, it might proliferate into that, and that's a real concern. So, we have to be mindful in using technology, right? And it is not about using technology, it's about reducing compute.
Correct.
So, it is also part of technology, right? IT's fundamental focus is how to optimize. There is an optimization algorithm. Even CPUs and GPUs are all designed to optimize itself so that we use less processing to produce maximum outcome. That has always been there. But if I go onto social media and if I keep on using AI to create videos which has no meaning, if it is needed for a particular business purpose or a social cause, absolutely.
Right.
But if it is just not required just to produce jokes and you are creating AI and images and all that, it just increases the compute.
Yeah.
And it is significant compute. That I think we should not do. So it has to be business driven, because IT or digital is working for business. I go back to my first point. If that is not satisfied, then there is, if the patient has to be operated upon, if the surgeon can do the job, then the surgeon does it. If the surgeon needs a little bit robotic help for better accuracy, better pain management and whatever, then it makes sense. If it is not required, just for the sake of it, you don't do it.
Right.
Because the data volume is huge. Image creates maximum amount of data. If I look at the 10 petabytes of data that we overall have in Tata Steel now, we could measure only 6 terabytes in 2018. Today we are measuring 10 petabytes. It is not that we didn't have data. We could not measure because there was no cloud, so there was no mechanism. So we can measure. But look at the proliferation. And much of it is image data. Coming from the cameras, the visual data, that can proliferate. But then processing it, storing it is extremely costly.
Yeah.
So we have to take care of the sustainability aspect as well.
So would you, and you rightly said, like every time, say, I don't want to name like the large providers of like AI systems, but all of us use it in our daily life. Whenever we are pinging the system, effectively like an API call, it's actually going, say, to a large language model, which may not be necessary for that task. But in that call, we are using a lot of compute resources, and that may not be as sustainable from that point of view.
Absolutely, absolutely. See, if you serve the internet or you do a Google search, we all do, so that solves a particular problem. If you go on to an AI algorithm to do the same, which will also do, but possibly it will give you a little bit more structured output, right? But it will also use a lot more resources, compute. So we have to, there's a lot of technical decision where to use GPU, where to use, not to use GPU, when to go to public cloud, when to remain on private cloud infrastructure, when to be on edge, at what point he will put a 5G bandwidth. So these decisions are a CIO's job, right? So how do we optimally use the resources? Again, I will go back, in a manner of saying, just don't do it for the sake of doing it. That is pretty critical. If you are mindful of that, then all the investments and everything will be driven in the right direction.
Got it. Right? Yeah. So I think for a sustainable tomorrow, these are important questions that we have to think about.
Absolutely.
One arc that, from your previous answer I want to take is, we are thinking about the future, the tomorrow, right? you mentioned a few use cases around safety, and I'm glad that Tata Steel is actually doing that, because safety has always been one of the concerns when it comes to manufacturing organization and a heavy manufacturing process like yours. You mentioned about quality control that can be done. There are remote operations that you're already doing. Do you think all of these will lead to a future wherein autonomous manufacturing is possible with, coupled with the rise of AI?
In India, I would say full autonomous, possibly it will take a longer time, and personal my view, full autonomous, I would be little averse to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because as I said, our demography, we have a lot of human capital.
Right.
Full autonomous will create a newer challenge, right? All of us learn to drive, and at least I learned to drive in an ambassador car. So there was no dashboard. We used to look backwards while we reverse our car. That is how my father taught me driving, right? But today all of us who drives actually don't have to look backwards. You can look at the
dash cam and
reverse. So none of us lost our job of driving. We are still drivers.
We became better drivers.
We became better drivers, or arguably we have become with a different skill. So we got reskilled. Subconsciously, consciously we got reskilled. That is going to happen with technology. So you will get reskilled, you will do the same job in a different manner, in a better way, in a much safer way, in maybe a more environment friendly way. Maybe we will be more productive in doing that job, right? Maybe we will be able to focus more on the creative aspects and think about some other stuff that we are not currently thinking about, because a lot of our time is taken in doing mundane activities. All that will happen. So that is the co-pilot pilot.
Okay.
But the pilot is required, right? So that is the importance. Now, in a Western world, in a Western environment, possibly autonomous operation or robotics will have a much further presence, because the human capital, there is a need for more, but you have lesser. So there, by virtue of their progression, it has happened that way. So that is okay. So that is good. So you have to say horses for courses. Where automation or an autonomous operation makes sense, you do it. Where it does not make sense, don't do it. Now in Tata Steel, we are also looking at autonomous operation of cranes.
Okay.
Because it's a heavy equipment and it's a lot of hazard there. And that is a lot of human judgment error that happens, right? It's a risky operation.
Correct.
So can we create autonomous there? Because it actually has a use case of safety. If I take the human out of that crane and again operate an overhead crane or otherwise through remote controls, it is a reskilling. We are not losing that crane operator's job. Is in a different way he or she is operating the crane. But that is a safety use case for autonomous, but not everything.
Got it.
But if you really look at what is happening in the furnace is kind of autonomous. It is once the parameters are set
and the inputs are given, it works by itself.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. I actually want to ask this question to you from the vantage point of a CIO, and that too at a massive scale like yours, right? I'm like you were mentioning a while ago, like Tata Steel has close to 1.5 lakh, and if you add the additional team, close to 1.6 lakh people, and it's a strong team, right? And with people there are processes, with processes there are technology, and this creates a lot of data. Now, as you mentioned, Excel also in a way sort of takes that data out of the system, works on it, but it needs to be fed back also for say future references and better decision making. So my question to you is, given there might be so many disparate systems, siloed system, as a CIO, how do you think about like a virtualized data layer that you were mentioning some time ago?
Again, I'll go back to the 7-layer architecture, right? So what we have done, we have around 149 entities and across the group, including overseas and India. And what we do is that we try to create the enterprise systems which cuts across all our businesses, right? Whether it is an enterprise system at a ERP level, so that is cutting across. We have created virtualized central finance system, for example, which will take data from individual systems from different group companies.
Okay.
But our reporting and closing happens through one central layer, which does the automatic data upload, and then it creates that reporting automatically, right? So similarly for the environment, we have systems like that. So it is important to structure and design the systems in such a way that your network is supporting you, your cloud is is a distributed compute architecture where my enterprise data is more risky and it has to be protected.
Correct.
So it goes into a kernel kind of private network, a private cloud, whereas my analytics and AI I can put into a public cloud and I use it as need basis. So that way my cost is controlled. But at the same time, with that cloud environment, I can democratize the data, and then if I definitions are defined for data elements, standardized, then I would be able to define those definitions in the system. Then once the data is fed, system then does all the calculation and creates that system generated output, which can be consumed by all sites and which has a standard effect. That is important. So that is how the virtualized layer is required. Because see, there is a difference between invasive surgery and non-invasive surgery.
Correct.
Virtualized data layer gives you a respite from an invasive surgery. If you don't want to be invasive and go and throw away all the 600 systems that was created earlier, then you, technically speaking, you create data pipes.
Right.
And you feed into data structures. And if data structures can be made uniform by standardizing the definition at a metadata level, you will get an universal data bus. Easier said than done. But if you can do that, and that is what our purpose is, because we never wanted to do an invasive surgery. Otherwise, we have to throw away all the legacy applications, the surround systems, and so many silos. You cannot do that. It is not of any business value. End of the day, if I change IT landscape, business is not seeing the value.
Yeah.
It's not a business solution. My landscape gets modernized. So I will modernize at a data level.
Interesting.
And then at an AI level. That is where the modernization is happening. Sometimes I have to do some legacy application change because of cyber security and all that. That we will do. But otherwise, we don't normally take an invasive surgical view.
Interesting. I think what I really liked, and perhaps like I never knew this, and now that you say it, you already have a few systems in place and you cannot rip them apart because business sits on top of it. So instead of doing that, you're actually creating like a layer on top which has data pipelines from all of these places. The data is standardized so that the inputs also, when it comes to the top, are standardized, and then the decision making happens on top of it.
Absolutely. It is, decision making is always above the data layer. It is, you don't consume an application, you actually consume the data that is coming from the application. So appification and data democratization is extremely key.
Interesting. Yeah. So actually, I want to take a step back and perhaps I want you to help me understand from your vantage point, how do you plan any digital transformation project within the group? Like, what's your process like?
Okay, the process is, there is a company-wide process. We have a Shikhar 25. So it is called Shikhar. So it is for all improvement projects. There is a framework. And the framework compels you to first write up a business case that why this problem should be solved.
Correct.
If we solve this problem, is there a KPI movement, whether it is a mother KPI or a child KPI, whether it will move. It will move the needle or not. And then quantify that. It is signed by finance, business, and then all the process owners. It's a Deming process.
The alignment across all stakeholders.
All stakeholders alignment. It is a Deming process. D0 is an ideation. D1 is a validation of the idea. D2 is the business cases written up. D3 is go for implementation. D4 is implemented and now it is deployed, and D5 is the accrual, the cash in bank. Is it really saving the money that you promised to save? So this process is very, very diligently followed. This is a process across Tata Steel pre-existing for some time. When digital transformation started, we decided that we will just become a subset of the process. There is no point in creating another process because any digital intervention should start with a business case. What problem am I solving? Why am I solving it? If I solve the problem, how will the company benefit?
Correct.
Either it will be a value creation in terms of I save money, I increase revenue, or I improve my profit by saving cost. Sometimes it is a loss avoidance, it is a risk avoidance. So sometimes it is a value protection. Whatever the case may be, there is a business value. It is driven by the IRR, driven by this. Also directionally, some things are also futuristic. That's something we have to do, like remote operations, right? It is something that is the future. We will have a challenge of asking people to move from, say, Jamshedpur to Odisha. They may not like it.
Correct.
Or somebody is sitting in a metro and may not want to come to, say, some other remote location. With remote working possible, with data reaching you, work coming to you instead of you going to work, this talent problem will be solved. It's much more futuristic. And people, young generation now are asking that can I work in steel, but I don't want to be in the polluting environment. If they start asking these questions, then these will help, right? So somewhere we have to take that call as well, and we have taken those calls, right? So it's always value driven. And there is a process to do that. It is a very stringent process. Nobody can get past that process. We cannot just go and say that, okay, give me some money and we'll do some work and it is a nice thing to do. No, it doesn't work. So
yeah, I think, and an organization of your scale needs to have very defined, frameworks also for you to execute, projects of this nature. Can you share a little about a few of the initiatives that you've taken as a company in this direction, digital transformation, and a couple of other things which are industry leading from that point of view?
So I would say the IROC, the remote operations control, is industry leading. It is the first of its kind in India. I think across companies. So we have done a press release on that earlier. Even in the Western world, the level of information we are getting from the sensors and running the analytics and AI models on top of it and creating the insights, it is truly mind-boggling. If you come and see our center, so we have vacated the IT building. So we had a building earlier where all the IT people would sit. We said we will give it to the business and we will move out. We'll work from anywhere and the business people can come and occupy, and we have kind of re-architected, redesigned in a certain sense, and it is all like a control tower with all LEDs. So that is something that is pretty unique, and as I said, that addresses the talent issue of the future. Is also addresses because a lot of people are together looking at the same problem. So there is a lot of minds together looking at the same screen.
Correct.
There is a power of collaboration. If I miss something, somebody else will think. There's a cross learning that happens. A lot of advantages, value add there, right? And it is also environment friendly, right? So you do that. That is one unique thing that has happened. Lot of models, because we are also, I would say that Tata Steel has 3 global lighthouses in World Economic Forum, Industry 4.0.
Okay,
so
what
our
is a lighthouse?
Lighthouse is World Economic Forum has an assessment framework in advanced manufacturing. So they will come and assess individual sites, not at a company level, individual sites, and they will see what is their Industry 4.0 maturity. And extremely stringent. I also sit as a jury on the advanced manufacturing, so I know how many the applications that come in. It is extremely stringent, and we went through the process, and the first one to go was IJmuiden, our Netherlands site. Then a more modern plant, Kalinganagar, Tata Steel Kalinganagar. So that became a lighthouse. Then Jamshedpur, which is a 117-year-old plant then. So we have all flavors. We have an European flavor. We have a modernized, sensorized, more modern plant, which is 5-6 years old at that time. And the other one is a 117-year-old plant. All are global lighthouses. 78% of our steel production happens from a global lighthouse advanced manufacturing Industry 4.0 site. So which we take a lot of pride in. So we'll also apply for other sites as we speak. Meramandali, we have acquired a lot of other companies after that. So that will also go through the same level of maturity. So while we apply, we ourselves assess that has it become mature after have gone through the 7 layer of architecture? Are we really creating business value? Because that framework only asks one question at the end of the day. Have you created business value? Then only Industry 4.0 is successful. And then if you have, then what are the technologies you implemented? Are they latest in the stack and all that stuff? That is the question they will ask.
Interesting. I think, and I must commend you and the group for being so futuristic, right, when it comes to initiatives, not just say at the country level, but also on a global level. Plus you're getting yourself audited by, say, a world-renowned organization for these initiatives. So I think that just builds a case for stronger tomorrow. So kudos to you and the group for that. While of course we can speak about the good parts, I think the mark of a true leader is also someone who can understand what these challenges are and then preempt what could be future challenges and sort of build towards it. So in your journey of digital transformation, what are common challenges that you've seen in a manufacturing setup that usually come up? And if you could just allude that to Tata Steel's experience, I think that'd be very lovely as well.
First is mindset, and that comes here. Because it's an extremely intensive physical industry.
Correct.
So people are used to be in the plant, operate the machines, see it firsthand, okay, listen to noises, do those gemba and line works. Everything is important. So it is ingrained. Now, when you say that, okay, now you can do it from somewhere else, it is easier for me to say. Okay, it's very easy for me to say but it is extremely difficult and challenging for the people who are walking the shop floor day in, day out to come out of their mindset and say that, okay, now I will sit behind a laptop, look at a screen and do the same job. Technically, it is possible. That transformation Tata Steel business has done. It is not easy for them to do, but they have done it. What they have done, and it happened in over a period of time, right? So they saw that, okay, I can do a virtual line work. I said that in 2018, but now business is saying that we want to do virtual line work.
Interesting.
So earlier I used to push that, okay, there is a, now they are pulling, okay, that I want this, I want more cameras, I want more angular view so that I can see this, I can fly drones here. They are only taking those decisions, I am just enabling that, right? So the paradigm has shifted, but much more, many more miles to go. So that is one. Second is that as a manufacturing industry, I think, and this is not true for Tata Steel because we have made the investments that we needed to make. But I feel that there is a lack of investment in the manufacturing sector towards digital. Sometimes the priority is given to some other shop floor activities than digital. This is my view from whatever I have seen. But not in Tata Steel, but elsewhere.
Since you sit on the board of Advanced Manufacturing Council, also you have that.
Yeah, that is one. Others is that also connection and all that. I think that we can do a little bit more upfront investment in the sector, which will really help. And there is a lot of capital investment that is required for sensorization and all that stuff. And it doesn't give you immediate ROI. Right, you have to be directionally right. You have to understand others have benefited. You have to really stay at the problem, and really, it should be a board level and a management level agenda. Otherwise, it will never work. It cannot be just yet another digital project and nice thing. It has to be in the core. So that is the other thing. Yeah, I think, and the third aspect, as I said, is data. Is a big challenge. It is still a big challenge because technology will not work unless data is right. You can do cloud.
Correct.
And people are doing so. A lot of people are doing cloud. A lot of people are doing public cloud. My advice is that let us also look at private cloud because public cloud is costly. 6 times costlier than private cloud. Okay. Right. So some of it hyperscalers are required for certain technology to work, but not all of it. So we have to have that determination. AI is all good, futuristic, but as I said, we have to understand the hype. We have to make it real on the ground. It has to deliver to a business case. But these two things people are still talking about. I am really struggling. Seldom find people talking about data, which is the fuel.
Correct.
Which gets democratized because of cloud and feeds the AI. And that is the most boring, difficult activity.
Right.
Okay. People don't want to work on data. And it's a business asset, end of the day. Okay, while people talk a lot about processes in manufacturing, and we have to do that, processes are extremely important, but if you bring in data, it will only enable the processes and sometimes it will remove the bottlenecks of processes as well. It will really give you insights, it will leapfrog. So that is where we have to, those challenges are real and we need to work on it.
Got it. So the 3 challenges that I'm sort of taking away, first is the mindset, given it is a very manufacturing operations first mindset that people have had. I think that needs to evolve. Second is from the board and I think from the leadership level, active investment of capital, because these are important investments you have to do to be sort of future ready, ready for tomorrow. And the third that you're mentioning is data, which is the boring part, but to be able to fuel efficiencies, you need the data to be there in the system.
And overarching is that it has to be business led.
It has to be. Okay, so the business case comes first and then all of these sort of follow.
Absolutely.
Got it. I want to shift gears and move more towards the personal side of getting to know you, because on the FiredUp podcast, we are getting thought leaders. And while we know what thought leaders speak, we'd also want to know how they get to this thinking, right? So I'll move to the personal questions, but I just have this one question. This comes from a place of patriotism, given, and also Tata Group has been a nation building organization, right? If as India, we are to win in the AI race. Like most of AI innovation in general has come from the West. But if we are to do it, say like incumbent large companies or say newer startups, what do you think will be the recipe for success in this case?
Difficult question, but if we really look at, and I was thinking about it, and recently in many discussions, it came up that do we have an India stack? We take a lot of pride in UPI.
Correct.
But that's good. But is it limited to that? Do we have an India stack, tech stack? Do we have our own AI algorithms, right? Are we really focused on doing that? Because we are known as a service industry.
Yeah.
In IT services sector, we are the leaders. There is no doubt about it. But have we created our own software, own tech stack? That is also important. India for India, are we focused on that?
Right.
Because the industry is focused more on servicing customers outside of India. But are we focusing on India for India? These are some of the things that we really need to look at. Then it will improve our quality, improve our standards. It will leverage the technical capital, human capital that we have. If we deploy all the technical human capital to service a company outside of India, then we are losing that human capital to service companies within India, or leveraging them for creating the future tech stack, which is much more Indianized, right? So I think there is a gap, and we have a lot of work to do in that aspect, which will improve the quality of production, fundamentally also improve the quality of life, because we understand the context better. As I said in my opening comments, understanding context is important. Possibly we have understood the context of customers outside or companies outside of India better. But are we understanding the context of Indian companies? Say MSMEs, the smaller companies. I'm not talking about the large companies. They are anyway global, and they are much more matured. But the smaller companies, can we do something so that it becomes more Indianized, it becomes much more cost effective, it really equips the talent pool in India, and then we don't have to worry about this exodus or the brain drain that we are having. So I think that whole subject, it is something we need to focus on.
Got it. What is one piece of technology Jayanta can't live without?
I think that is a cliche, it's a phone. I'm struggling, the phone is with somebody else now. So the point is, I think it is a part and parcel of the life that I don't even remember my daughter's phone number and my son's phone number.
Yeah, because
if I lose my phone, I can't call them.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a difficulty. So only my wife's phone number I have memorized. Okay, so
that is all that is needed, I can tell you.
The other thing is that possibly my smartwatch when I exercise, and I'm dependent on it because I keep track. So
you're
all
big time
the
into
parameters,
fitness, you mentioned.
Yeah, so they are these two, I would say.
Nice. I'm sure you are a role model to a lot of people in the group. But if I may ask, who is your role model? Who do you derive inspiration from the most? Within the group or outside, anybody works.
Yeah, so there is no one name, right? There are many within the group, many Tata leaders, many esteemed Tata leaders within Tata Steel, within TCS, within the group. So you pick up certain aspects, you look up to them, right? And some aspect you really like, and you start imbibing that particular aspect. And also people you do not know. On social media, I keep on listening to say podcast or say certain thought processes strikes, right? And then I would like to connect with that person, and I did that very recently. So it is about that is not one individual. It is about many different stalwarts who are there. You keep on interacting, and you keep on getting inspired, right? And you pick up aspects of it. Otherwise, it will become emulating. I have to be myself.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I cannot be like somebody. That is not possible. So I would pick up some qualities that I can imbibe and be a better person.
Got it. Just one last question, and I want to ask this from a point of view of, the nation building aspect that the group has always had, right? So from that vantage point, what is your vision for tomorrow?
At a Tata Steel level, from the digital and technology lens, if I see, I think I would like two aspects to really happen. One is that the remote working, in terms of manufacturing excellence, with more predictability, more prescriptability, more insight, data insights based decision rather than physical. I think that trend is started, and that I would like to see accelerated. That is one part that I believe will do a lot of good to a primarily very hazardous sector. So it helps in safety, helps in productivity and talent, as we spoke. That is one. If I can deliver customer experience, and I can see that as a manufacturing company, as a steel manufacturing company, we are extremely customer focused and agile, like the FMCG companies or the e-commerce platforms. If you can get to that level, but that will be really, really good. So these are the two things. Third is that if I broaden it out at a overall industry or India specific, my view is that if digital can become a meaningful contribution towards quality of life, it can get democratized for the common man. Okay, so I talked about the variability.
Correct.
If we can create impact at a mass level, that it becomes commoditized, it is easy to use, it gives a very easy interface, and it becomes a part and parcel of the common life, not the people who will have pretty costly smartphones or will have an access to a computer or a lab or LED screens. No, it has to reach the masses, and it has to really improve the quality of life from a safety and other perspective, and also make it a better place to live in. Then I think it is a meaningful contribution.
Right. I think that makes sense. A technology that just strikes my mind is video conferencing. Like today we can just video call anybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's a great example of mass technology. But amazing.
At the same time, we should not do that while crossing the road.
Yeah, that is true. Safety is also important. Yes. But amazing. Thank you so much, Jayanta, for this conversation. I am pretty sure our viewers are fired up after listening to your words of wisdom. So we will get you more podcasts with thought leaders. Ensure you follow this. Thank you so much.